One has mastery over all types of chakra and fights godlike beings, while the other has mastery over Bankai and fights beings who can alter the future itself. So today we're diving into a good old question that who would win in a fight between Naruto and Ichigo. So I'm going to be starting out by scaling Naruto first, then move on to his speed, and then scale Ichigo. So Naruto Uzumaki's first major feat was fighting Haku, and Haku could move at light speeds between mirrors. There are a lot of people who try to debunk this, but Haku primarily goes back and forth between mirrors at light speed and also attacks with his kunai in between. As for where I got the statement, it was in the data books, and Naruto as a kid with one-tailed cloak was able to speed blitz Haku. Even Sasuke, who was relative to Naruto, was able to react and perceive Haku's attacks with a Sharingan. Even when Haku was moving between mirrors, which is light speed, Sasuke could track him down and even intercept his attacks from a distance. And Naruto in one-tailed cloak was a lot stronger than Sasuke. Then later on during the Chunin exam arc, Sasuke fought Rock Lee with a Sharingan and got speed blitzed by him. And Rock Lee in this panel is moving faster than his shadow. A lot of Bleach fans don't want to take this example, but would rather take the example of Uryu moving faster than his shadow to scale Ichigo. And in the same arc, My Guy was also able to speed blitz Sasuke, and Sasuke couldn't even react or perceive him. So both Rock Lee and My Guy can easily be considered FTL, as Sasuke was not able to perceive them. Mind you, My Guy himself stated that he was faster and stronger than Kakashi. The point I'm trying to make is that Kakashi between the age of 12 to 14 was able to cut lightning itself, and on top of that, Kakashi goes on to get way stronger in Shippuden and even in base Naruto as an adult. Kakashi was able to counter Itachi's water bullets, who were stated to be light speed. And here's the thing, Kakashi couldn't even see Itachi's hand signs and intercepted it after it was casted. And here comes Naruto. Base Naruto in Shippuden was able to keep up with Kakashi while they're sparring, even in close range. Alright, so now let's move on to the next speed feat. The next speed feat was when KCM1 Naruto went on to speed blitz the Raikage without Sage Mode. And here's the point, both Killer Bee and the Raikage were able to move at light speeds while using Lariat, and the Raikage was easily faster than Killer Bee. The reason is because the Raikage was stated to be the fastest shinobi after Minato passing. Also, the Raikage uses V1 form while using Lariat, and he's a lot faster and stronger in V2 form. And the reason why I said without Sage Mode is because Sage Mode can be even more than a 10 times multiplier, as the curse mark was about a 10 times multiplier as well. And then in KCM2 he got a lot stronger and faster since he gained access to half of Kurama's chakra. In KCM2 he also kept up with guys like Madara and Obito, and Madara was easily faster than the Raikage. So this feat can easily put him at MFTL. And after gaining 6 paths chakra, Naruto goes on to fight Madara and dodges his life fangs, which is stated to be light speed. And with all the multipliers and 6 paths power, he can easily be scaled to MFTL. And now let's move on to the real scaling. So Naruto, after gaining Hagoromo's chakra, goes on to fight Kaguya Otsutsuki. So Kaguya, despite being a low rank Otsutsuki, could warp the entire Naruto universe. It's also been stated by Black Zetsu that Kaguya uses a significant amount of energy to switch between dimensions. And that statement was made after Kaguya switched her own dimension with another one of her own dimension. This indicates that her dimensions are likely bigger than the entire Naruto universe, or at least relative or comparable in size. So she basically warped the entire Naruto universe and switched it with her own dimension, and she does it around 6 times, plus has the ability to erase them all. She's also able to destroy and create her own dimension by erasing space-time and matter itself and creating a new one. So yeah, the rabbit goddess Kaguya Otsutsuki can easily be scaled from universal to low multiversal. And Naruto was able to take out Kaguya's arm and even clash with her equally many times. So yeah, being able to clash and damage Kaguya easily puts Naruto at universal to low multiversal. Mind you, Naruto did all of this just with half of Kurama's chakra. He never really had access to the entirety of Kurama's chakra until the end of the war. And he goes on to fight Sasuke, who is also able to damage Kaguya. So he fights both Kaguya Otsutsuki, who is universal to low multi, and Sasuke, who is close to universal as well. And moving on to another one of Naruto Uzumaki's feats, Naruto's existence itself creates tears in the universe. Naruto goes on to beat Toneri Otsutsuki, who splits an entire moon with 0 effort, and just the impact of Naruto's punch in base form was able to create an entire crater in the moon. Now let's move on to Naruto's hacks and abilities. So Naruto Uzumaki is by far one of the most hacked out characters in the entirety of Big 3. He has mastery over all 5 chakra natures, including fire, water, lightning, and wind. Naruto can also use different types of Rasen Shurikens, including Lava Star Rasen Shuriken, which can damage you internally. And on top of that, Naruto can combine them with thousands of shadow clones, which should be easily MFTL plus, or at the very least FTL plus. This can be one of the best ways for Naruto to overpower Ichigo, as Ichigo should not be able to keep up with thousands of shadow clones moving at MFTL speeds as well. And so far we know that shadow clones are relative to the speed of the user. Well, even if it is 10%, it's still going to be FTL. Naruto Uzumaki also has a TSO which can disintegrate anything it touches. And Obito was also able to erase Hashirama and Tobirama. And the only reason why they're alive is because they're reanimated shinobis. Not to mention that truth-seeking orbs can nullify any jutsu or attack. And then he has Sage mode, which he can combine with Sage energy to turn people into frogs. Plus he has access to many frogs like Gamakichi, Fukusaku, and Shima, who can even cast Genjutsu. The reason why I bring up Genjutsu is because Genjutsu can affect all 5 senses like Aizen's Kyoka Suigetsu. The only reason why Ichigo was not affected by Kyoka Suigetsu is because he did not see Aizen's Shikai release. And Naruto is also capable of interacting and touching souls. So the 2015 arguments a lot of Bleach fans make that Naruto won't be able to see or touch Ichigo is not going to work. And on top of that, Naruto Uzumaki also has an ability called the Creation of All Things. This ability is extremely overpowered as he was able to save Might Guy, which is impossible, and even heal Kakashi's eye. This ability kinda lets you turn your fantasy into reality by using chakra to create anything. Hagoromo Otsutsuki was able to create 9-tailed beasts using this ability. Anyways, I'm gonna be scaling Naruto from High Universal to Low Multiversal and MFTL Plus. Well, as for the MFTL Plus feat, Naruto Uzumaki was able to match Kage, who could erase an entire universe-sized dimension very fast. Plus Kage Otsutsuki is easily far beyond light speed as she was able to dodge one of Sasuke's attacks from a very close distance. Now let's move on to scaling the man himself, Ichigo Kurasaki. So one of the best techniques to scale Ichigo speed is using the Uryu moving faster than Shadow feat. Well, this feat is controversial just like Rock Lee, but this can still put him at FTL. And Ichigo Kurosaki has always been faster and stronger than Uryu, so this should put him at FTL too. Well, it is a very controversial feat as a lot of Bleach fans love to neglect Rock Lee moving faster than Shadow as well. And on top of that, Ichigo goes on to attain Bankai, which can be up to a 5 to 10 times multiplier. I'm gonna say 10 times as Ichigo's Bankai was a lot more overpowered than other people's Bankai. So yeah, it is very possible to get Ichigo over light speed if you count Uryu's Shadow. Then he was able to keep up and dodge Byakuya's attacks, which is very impressive. And in the Bleach verse, it's stated that Holification can even give you a greater power than Bankai. So yeah, Ichigo Kurosaki even earlier can be considered faster than light. And then Ichigo definitely goes on to get stronger after fighting Grimmjow and Ulquiorra. As for Ceros, at first I thought it was light speed, but it's not consistent, as it says a powerful spiritual light fired by Rankars. So I'm not being biased, but here's my point. So Ceros, as we know, are made by Ryatsu or spiritual pressure, which isn't photons, and there is no evidence to back it up that they're light speed. For example, I wouldn't be using Madara's Light Fang if they're just referred to as light beams, but it was confirmed that it cuts everything at the speed of light. Same argument goes for Negashio, and it's not consistent. But regardless if it's light speed or not, Ichigo is still capable of dodging them. Now I'm going to move on to his fight with Aizen, where he actually gains power up. So while fighting Aizen, Aizen goes on to use the Hado 90. So basically the Hado 90 distorts space and time itself. I don't know how some people got Aizen to multiversal after this, but everything that has mass distorts space and time. For example, I'm distorting space and time, and so are you or your computer. But the main point here is that Aizen does it on a far greater level. Another example is the Earth holding the moon in orbit, which has its own gravity pull, so it does distort the space to a fairly high level. And destroying that shouldn't even make you universal or even solar system level, considering Aizen was very impressed by his feat of destroying a mountain on accident. I'm definitely not saying that Aizen is mountain level, he's a lot higher. Despite all that, Ichigo goes on to get way stronger and even one-shots Aizen, which should at least put him around planetary. And on top of that, Ichigo went on to transcend every Soul Reaper or Hollow at that moment. Now let's move on to the next feat, which is actually going to get him high. So the next feat is performed by old man Yamamoto, aka the head captain. So Yamamoto's Bankai's temperature was about 15 million degrees Celsius. So 15 million is about 270,000 in Fahrenheit. Just to let you guys know, the core of the sun is about 15 million degrees, which is very hot. Yamamoto also stated that he would have burned the entire Soul Society, including Yuha. Before we scale this feat, we need to know how big the Soul Society actually is. A lot of people think that the Soul Society is an entire dimension or a universe. Well, I do agree to some extent, but my whole point is that it's a planet within a dimension, as there's a lot of evidence to it. The first one is that if the Soul Society were to be an entire universe, Yamamoto's Bankai shouldn't have been able to affect it at all. The reason is because a solar flare, despite being up to 100 million degrees Celsius, cannot even affect the Earth. I totally agree that it's fused with Yamamoto's power and Bankai, but he states that he would burn the entire Soul Society into ashes. Despite all that, it's simply not possible for 15 million degrees Celsius to burn an entire universe or even a dimension that's about universe size. This feat at max can be scaled up to star level, and that's kinda highballing it. It's also been stated that the entirety of Hueco Mundo is covered by sand and referred to as a desert, which should not be possible in an entire universe, plus it says atmosphere. And the moon and the stars you see are outside, as the entirety of Hueco Mundo is desert. Number 3, an earthquake does not affect an entire universe. Instead, most of these things only make sense in a planet. But we do have greater feats like Grammy creating a galaxy-sized room with his imagination, and Kenpachi was not doing well in outer space despite winning. So with this feat alone we can scale Grammy and Kenpachi to galaxy level. One thing that did not make sense to me is that Kenpachi was literally dying in outer space while Shikamaru and Sakura were not even struggling a bit. Especially considering that Kenpachi is considered to be a lot stronger than Shikamaru and Sakura. Despite all that, we know that Ichigo is a lot stronger than Kenpachi. So despite Ichigo not playing a role in this feat, it can still put him around galaxy level. Now let's move on to the next feat, which is Senjomaru shaking the 3 worlds or realms. But my point here is that the 3 worlds cannot be proven to be a universe or even a dimension. Well, but the kanji for Tenchi is Ten and Chi, which often refers to as sky and ground, although it's not entirely impossible for it to be a universe. Well, there's not a lot of evidence to back it up, so I'm not going to be taking this feat or the Ten Tails feat from Naruto. Well, but if we were to assume that it's a dimension, it would be a universal feat quite easily. Now let's move on to the most overpowered character in the entire Bleach verse. Yamamoto's main goal is to stop the cycle of death and fear by merging the 3 worlds together. But the main problem here is that the 3 worlds never been stated to be a universe or even a dimension, so this feat kinda leans towards solar system level, and Ichigo Kurasaki being able to damage Yuha easily puts him at galaxy level. So I'm gonna be scaling Ichigo Kurasaki at galaxy level and FTL+. Well, if he did have more lightspeed feats, I would certainly get him up to MFTL. Well, if you guys don't want to take the Kage Otsutsuki feat, you can always take the Momoshiki feat where he creates a parallel dimension with stars inside of it. Well, this has been proven and stated many times, and the movie is indeed canon. It also has a redshift which indicates an expanding universe. And then we also have Ishiki Otsutsuki and Kashin Koji shaking an entire dimension, and considering that 6-path Naruto is stronger than Koji, it's not very hard for Naruto to do the same. Also, another look into Momoshiki's dimension, it's shown to have stars, which look very distant apart, kinda showing the size of the universe. He's also able to absorb chakra and energy from the stars in an instant, and Sasuke sees it very fast. This is easily another MFTL+ feat, and Naruto was able to match it. It kinda might seem like I'm favoring Naruto, but I've removed a lot of feats including Ishiki saying that he brought Naruto to a different world. It even says a world where Konoha does not exist. Unlike a lot of Bleach fans, I'm not gonna use the word world as a universe. And being realistic, I really have no way to scale how big Ishiki's dimension actually is. And we also had multiple scans and statements saying that the Ten Tails created an entire universe. Well, it does use Tenchi, the same as Senjomaru. It can mean a universe, but not necessarily, although it's a lot more consistent compared to Senjomaru. And also Sasuke's Rinnegan transcending a dimension. I'm not sure if it's a mistranslation, but I'm still not going to take this feat. Well, we also have Madara Uchiha Susanoo, which is capable of cutting through anything in the universe. He can create hundreds of thousands of shadow clones, which should at least be FTL, and if Ichigo gets jumped by all of them, it's over. Considering that he has to fight the main Naruto at the same time with thousands of shadow clones, which should be around the real Naruto in terms of speed. Plus, Naruto Uzumaki has far more hacks compared to Ichigo, who only has Getsuga Tensho. Not to mention that Naruto has far better regenerations and a lot more attacks compared to Ichigo. If you want more evidence for the Kage feat, we have Obito Uchiha being able to connect his own dimension with the Naruto universe quite easily, and then he's not able to connect to Kage's dimensions or time spaces, indicating that it's very vast. Even if you get Ichigo Kurosaki to Universal, which is the same level, Naruto still has a lot more attacks and abilities. So I got Naruto winning, but depending on what argument you got, let me know.